This is Philadelphia, a city that feels like the exact opposite of almost every major city in the United States. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. While most American cities are defined by sprawl, highways slicing through neighborhoods, and endless seas of parking lots, Philly looks like it accidentally time-traveled in from another reality. One where cities were built for people first, and cars were kind of an afterthought. Think about it. In most U.S. cities, density is something that only exists downtown. You get a few blocks of skyscrapers, maybe a couple of dense apartment zones nearby, and then suddenly, boom, you're in single-family suburbia, wide roads, long blocks, driveways everywhere. But Philadelphia doesn't really do that. Instead of spreading outward forever, Philly stays tight. Neighborhoods are packed closely together in every direction. Row house after row house after row house. Streets that feel human-sized. Blocks that are short enough that walking doesn't feel like a chore. And somehow, even with all that density, the city doesn't feel claustrophobic. It feels livable. Philadelphia has been like this for centuries. So how did that happen? Why does Philly feel so different from almost every other American city? And more importantly, what can the rest of the country learn from it? Stick around, because once you understand Philadelphia, it kind of exposes everything that went wrong with urban development in the U.S. To understand Philly, you have to go way back, like colonial America back. Philadelphia was founded in 1682 by William Penn, which makes it one of the oldest major cities in the country. And Penn wasn't just throwing buildings wherever they fit. He had a vision. He wanted to create what he called a green country town. That idea alone already sets Philly apart. Penn designed the city around a simple but incredibly powerful concept: an orderly grid, compact blocks, walkable streets, and public squares spaced evenly throughout the city. It was clean, it was logical, and honestly, it was way ahead of its time. This layout became the foundation for everything that followed. But here's something a lot of people don't realize. Early Philadelphia wasn't one single city. It was a patchwork of districts, townships, and villages. Each one had its own streets, its own services, its own local government. That made planning a nightmare. Neighborhoods grew in different directions, at different speeds, with totally different rules. That all changed in 1854 with the Act of Consolidation. This was a massive moment. Philadelphia merged with all its surrounding townships and boroughs, instantly becoming the second largest city in the country. Over 500,000 people. And for the first time, citywide planning was actually possible. And here's where the timing becomes crucial. Philadelphia had already grown significantly before cars even existed. That meant its neighborhoods were designed around walking, around streetcars, around the early rail, not around highways, not around parking minimums, not around 6-lane arterials. As a result, the city developed with narrow streets, short blocks, and buildings packed close together. Row houses became the dominant form of housing, not because they were trendy, but because they were efficient, easy to build, affordable, perfect for creating density without towering skyscrapers. Those same row houses still define Philly today, and they're a big reason why the city works as well as it does. Now let's talk about walkability, because this is where Philadelphia really starts flexing. Philadelphia has been named the single most walkable city in the U.S. multiple years in a row. And yeah, a lot of cities claim to be walkable. Plenty of downtowns have grids. Plenty of cities say, oh yeah, you can walk here. But Philly's grid actually functions. The blocks are short. The intersections come quickly. Streets connect smoothly instead of dead-ending into massive roads. The uniform structure makes the city easy to navigate, even if you've never been there before. You don't need GPS every 5 seconds. You can just walk. And because the grid is so compact, you can cover a lot of ground without realizing it. One neighborhood blends seamlessly into the next. Shops, cafes, parks, and transit stops are always close by. You don't need a car to live your life. Now compare that to a city like Houston. Houston has grids too. It even has areas with townhomes, apartments, and mixed-use buildings. On paper, it looks like it's trying to densify, but the experience is completely different. Houston's streets are huge. Blocks are long. Parking lots dominate entire sections of the city. Even in areas with active development, you'll find warehouses, storage facilities, gas stations, and vacant land breaking everything up. Density exists, but it's scattered, disconnected. Philadelphia doesn't have that problem. And that brings us to one of the most important concepts in urban design: consistent density. Philly isn't just dense downtown, it's dense almost everywhere. Not skyscraper dense, not Manhattan dense, but something much more sustainable. Medium density, the kind that urban planners call the missing middle. This includes row houses, duplexes, triplexes, small apartment buildings, and corner shops tucked into residential neighborhoods. And the key thing is, this housing exists everywhere, not just in the city center, not just near transit hubs, all over the city. That even density is what makes everything work. Shops can survive because there are enough people nearby. Transit works because ridership is spread throughout the city. Walking feels natural because destinations are always close. The grid doesn't just look organized, it feels connected. And despite all that density, Philadelphia isn't a concrete jungle, far from it. Remember William Penn's green country town idea? That actually stuck. His original plan included 5 major public squares, evenly spaced throughout the city to create breathing room and prevent overcrowding. 1 in each quadrant, plus 1 in the center, which eventually became City Hall. Then there's Fairmount Park, over 9,200 acres stretching along the Schuylkill River. It's the largest landscaped urban park in the world, nearly 10 times the size of Central Park. And it's not just one giant park. Philly is full of tree-lined streets, pocket parks, neighborhood squares, and green spaces woven directly into the urban fabric. Nature isn't something you have to drive to, it's just there. Now let's talk transit, because this is another area where Philly quietly outperforms almost everyone. Philadelphia is served by SEPTA, and yes, people love to complain about it. Every city complains about its transit system, but when you zoom out and look at the network as a whole, it's incredibly impressive. SEPTA includes subways, elevated lines, trolleys, regional rail, and buses. And these systems overlap. They don't just serve the city itself, but the entire greater Philadelphia region, including multiple surrounding counties. In fact, Philadelphia is one of only 3 U.S. cities with a full-size rapid transit system that includes both subway and trolley lines operating together. That's rare. Daily ridership sits around 750,000 to 800,000 trips. That puts it among the most used transit systems in the country. And here's the kicker. SEPTA leads the nation in daily ridership per $1 billion of operating budget. In plain English, it's insanely cost-efficient. That efficiency exists because the city is built to support transit. Density is consistent. Stops are close. People actually live near the lines. This is what happens when urban form and infrastructure are aligned instead of fighting each other. And all of this feeds into one of Philly's most underrated strengths: housing affordability. For decades, Philadelphia has been known as the affordable East Coast city. And while prices have definitely gone up, that reputation still mostly holds. The median listing price sits around $280,000. That's about 36% lower than the national average. Philadelphia is cheaper than many cities that people think of as affordable, like Atlanta, Miami, or Houston. And it's nowhere near the prices you see in New York, Boston, or D.C. Why? Because Philly has options. Its housing stock is diverse: row houses, duplexes, small apartment buildings, mixed-use buildings. These types of housing are cheaper to build, use land efficiently, and exist in massive numbers. That variety gives the market flexibility and prevents prices from spiraling out of control the way they have in cities dominated by single-family zoning. So when you put it all together, thoughtful design, walkable neighborhoods, consistent density, massive green space, real transit, and relatively affordable housing, you start to see why Philadelphia feels so different. It's not perfect. No city is. But it's resilient. It works. And it proves that American cities don't have to be endless parking lots connected by highways. Philadelphia shows us what happens when cities are built for people first and then allowed to evolve without being completely rewritten for cars. And honestly, the more you look at Philly, the more it feels less like an exception and more like a reminder of what we lost. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more urban deep dives, and comment below. Do you think more U.S. cities should follow Philadelphia's model, or is it too late for most of them?